Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another gameplay video. This time we have some set 13 gameplay for you guys. We have myself on the bottom playing King Vegeta and Mr. Deleuze on top playing Mecha Frieza equipped for set 13. This King Vegeta list that I'm playing is currently on the Patreon. If you guys want to check it out there, feel free. The link is in the description below. It'll generally help get your game up just to be part of the Patreon, reading the articles there, maybe inquiring about some coaching if you're interested. But I do get to go first here, and I do get to play the Young Invader King Vegeta to Mecha's board, and that's really good because Mecha needs every single life it can get access to use as a resource. So essentially letting them play with one less life means, you know, one less Unite Assemble I have to worry about, one less Vegeta's Final Flash, things like that. So that's really good. But this matchup does actually feel pretty rough for King Vegeta, and I think we'll see that this game becomes a real dragged out fight. But it's kind of tough for Red in general, but we'll see more of that as we go through. So I do decide to go with the method of not tapping out as much as I can because I don't want to give him full value on Unite Assemble. Although here I do get the leader swing in, and now I get a 19k critical swing in, so that's really good there. Critical being even better than the Young Invader abilities because I'm able to put that light to the drop area instead of giving it to the hand, right? So with the Young Invaders, it is a little bit weird. Even though you do place life in the drop area, they do get to draw a card off of that. So that can feel bad sometimes. But he is going to go for the turn 1 Bojack. Luckily, Zamasu didn't rest any of my cards. But it is nice that he kind of had to waste it there. Although, establishing Bojack, that's a big pain for this deck. So I am going to play Young Invader off my field card, getting Vegeta switching gears out. And the gameplay might feel a little fast, trying to follow it as best I can and get you guys the play-by-play because this did end up being like a 40-minute game, so I did want to kind of condense it. Not many people are going to want to be here for 40 minutes, so we're trying to keep it as short and concise. But I think it's still very followable. But I'll give you the play-by-play as we go here. I do attack with the switching gears because I don't want to allow him to just rip extra cards and get value off his life. So I do attack with that. I do decide to be pretty aggressive with that. And it goes back to his turn here. So he's going to swing Bojack into my Vegeta. I could use the Imposing Presence, but that would tap me out and give him max value off of Unite Assembles. So I think here I'm just going to let it go. I do have the life advantage, which feels pretty good. At this point in the game, I'm kind of just thinking if I can get him to, 3, maybe 2 life, I won't have to do that much more work to just, drop Chompa on my leader and go for game. But the slug engine here, man, the slug engine hurts King Vegeta a lot. It's really rough, man. Like my 19k critical Vegeta, my Vegeta switching gears, no longer going to be able to generate me new cards. My Unison not going to be able to generate me new cards. It's looking a bit rough in this position for sure. And without a card like Concentrated Destruction Goku in the main deck, it's really hard to deal with these cards. This matchup, actually, if Mecha does prove to be one of, if not the best decks of next format, which I really do think it can be that level, the Gohank's SCR might actually be a really good consideration because of that barrier board wipe. Like this here, the amount of barrier cards that Mecha can put out with this type of build is honestly insane. So I get to awaken because my opponent's life's at 4 or less, which is what King Vegeta allows you to do. And then I use Young Invader to take myself down to 4. So now my super combos are live, but I can't draw off of them because of slugs. So that is definitely rough. We're going to go leader into leader. This is the classic, play around Nimbus or play around Zamasu. No, necessarily I don't have any battle cards to attack with, but I do attack with leader, and if he decides to Nimbus me, so be it. He'll lose additional cards from his hand. It's better than getting Zamasu'd. But in this case, actually, he could hit me with the power of a Super Saiyan. But either way, he could have also hit me with Zamasu, so it's kind of a lose-lose. You just never know what they have. Now, I'm playing Kai here, and I can't wipe his board because Kai does not ignore barrier, but I'm literally just playing Kai as a 40k beater. Now, he is going to rest out Unite Assemble. He is going to take himself down to 3 and get some good value off of that. But Yellow doesn't really have removal, especially for something as big as Supreme Kai of Time. He might be playing like a Secret Identity or something along those lines, but he most likely does not have an answer for Supreme Kai of Time. So that's just going to sit there as a 40k beater. I already kind of realized at this point in the game I can't really use it with any great efficiency to clear his board, but I am just going to establish it as a 40k beater that he's not really going to be able to deal with. He does combo the cooler to not take damage from my leader swing. We're going to go Unison into leader, just trying to get cards out of his hand at this point. I really don't think I can afford to attack into his battle cards. Like, maybe if I had Kai to swing with, I could swing Kai into Slug or something along those lines. But Kai's in rest mode, so that's not going to work out too well. He did drop the Robotic Riposte, but I believe at this point he took it back because he didn't want it to get popped immediately with Piccolo. So that's okay. Just a playtesting session. Not a big deal if he wants to take that back. Looks like he's going to combo my Raditz off here. And that's actually really rough because in this version of the build, I do only play 4 Young Invaders. I play 2 Raditz and 2 Young Vegeta. And I have 1 Vegeta in energy and 1 Vegeta on the board that I think I kind of made an error in even playing it to my own board. Because I did have the potential to play Broly out of my hand, right? But then I kind of made this poor decision that I didn't want to tap out, so playing the Vegeta to my board was a mistake in hindsight, although it did give me more options. I definitely wanted to use Young Invaders to take a life, and I didn't have to play Young Invader to my field. I could have just, chose up to 0, right? But I was still possibly going to play the Broly, but in the end I decided I didn't want to tap out, so I kind of just didn't commit to a play in that sense, and that's pretty rough leaving the Vegeta there, because the point is, he dealt with one of my Raditzes. Both of my Vegetas are out of the deck, and the one in rest mode right now is probably going to get KO'd at this turn. He's probably just going to swing into it. And from checking through my deck earlier in the game, the other Raditz, I believe, is in my last 4 life. So I don't have any more Young Invaders to give him, which means the Raditzes in my hand and cards of that nature are not going to be super playable. So I'm actually going to be playing a lot of this game with bricks, but I am going to hang on here for as long as I can, try to apply as much pressure as possible with the Kai I have on board and just everything else I'm able to establish. He is going to swing into the Young Invader, which definitely not what I wanted to see, but definitely makes sense. So we're going back to our turn here. We charge, and we're going to swing right away with the Supreme Kai of Time. So the reason I do that here is because he may Nimbus me, which would mean I would get maximum value. He may also Zamasu here and tap my leader, but Zamasu is not going to get him out of the 40k Kai swing, right? So if he doesn't get out of the Kai swing with Zamasu, he's still got to waste cards to not go down to 2. That was my logic behind that. Although he is going to use Robotic Riposte. Luckily, this deck does play a field spell you automatically put into play. So with that, I do still get to send some attacks through. And Robotic Riposte does not affect your Unison. So that'll be another attack I'm able to get through. Although he is going to use Power of a Super Saiyan, which will trigger his leader to also tap my Yamcha. That just felt like a super unfair play. And now he's dropping Bergamo on top of it, tap 2 of my energy. I'm almost lucky in a sense that my hand is super dead because I don't have anything to actually use the energy. But I do have some negates, so those can work out. Now I'm really hoping he missed sequences here, but Mr. Deleuze is a good player, so not necessarily banking on that to happen. But if this were a local or a regional, I would kind of hope they would swing with either maybe Leader first or maybe Bojack first, so I could use Violent Rays. And if I get the chance to use Violent Rays here, he won't be able to attack with Slug for the rest of the turn. So that would allow me to actually turn some of my draw engines back on, which would be really, really clutch. But unfortunately, yep, Mr. Deleuze, not a bad player by any means, so he's going to swing with the Slug first. I am going to drop King Vegeta, Imposing Presence here. And now he's in a bit of a pickle because he can't actually attack with Bojack, because if he does, Bojack will lose 5k due to Imposing Presence, then I can Wolf Fang Fist it. So he's also playing around that, which makes this even more difficult for me here. I do have negates that buy me entire turns. Yeah, see, he turned it sideways. He's like, oh, nope, wait, that's not going to happen. So I do have negates that allow me to keep going, but I need to figure out a way to get him low. He does have a really big hand size. Although, if he taps enough energy, I will definitely account for him not having a ton of comboable cards. So I'm just trying to put myself in that winning position. And see, he still can't deal with Kai. So if I can just run him out of his Nimbuses and cards like that, where Kai can actually go in for damage, that's going to be my ideal situation. But if this was the Gohanks Unison from set 13, this would actually be quite a different game. So he is with the Nimbus here, and after thinking about it, he's not going to discard, I don't believe. And we talked about it. He's like, why would I discard for Nimbus when I can just tap the rest of your board like on the next action you take? And I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. That's why I don't even play Nimbus in decks like Blue Yellow Skillless. It just isn't needed really, in my opinion. 25k Vegeta. Now I can't draw off of the super combo, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. I do want to just drop it for the pressure though. I also believe I also believe this will put me at 7 and drop for Scientist Fu, which Scientist Fu won't draw me cards unfortunately, but it'll still be a really big 25k double striker. I just have to figure out a way to bait out the Poutine effect. He's going to use Final Flash to get out of that 25k attack. So our hand parity is actually pretty okay. I am going to use Young Invaders to rip myself down a life to 3. And I think I'm thinking about using the Rejuvenate on Piccolo here. Yep, we're going to Rejuvenate on Piccolo. Can't really take out any of his board, but that's okay. I basically almost got like a draw if you think about it, which I can't really draw because of Slug, but I did get a draw from my life with Young Invaders, which then was replaced by the life from Rejuvenate. And now I play the Piccolo, which can now attack. So he's going to combo Raider's Warcry into play. This is pretty good for me though, because window 2 I get to use Yamcha counterplay, so I minus the Raiders, minus the Bergamo, and then King Vegeta's effect can kill the Bergamo, which is nice. Getting that extra minus 10k is great. And I do get to play a Scientist Fu. Unfortunately not drawing, which would make Scientist Fu infinitely better, but Slug is on the board. So I'm kind of hoping this 25k double strike puts enough pressure onto him that I can go for game next turn. I'm pretty secure with living because I have double Violent Raise and Wolfang Fist in my hand. So I am putting up to 35. I'm really hoping he just goes to 1, because if he goes to 1, that means he's done with free extra cards for the game. And with that, I can just try and get as many cards in my hand as possible on the next turn and just try and shotgun him for game. That's my hope and prayer right now. So he's going to go ahead and put himself down to 2 with a Unite Assemble. He's going to Aegis with Bojack. Pitching is a Masu though, so I definitely feel pretty okay about that. He's going to Final Flash, getting himself to 30. I am at 35 though, so he needs 10k more. And another Zamasu, so that does get him out of it actually for really good value. And I mentioned just a minute ago that our hand parity was quite close. Now it's a bit different. It's a bit more, a bit wider of a gap in our hand disparity, so that's not good. And he does go immediately with the Slug attack, which again is the right thing for him to do. I am going to rip the Violent Raise though. Stop him from attacking with Bergamo and Bojack and all that good stuff. He's got the Basil though, which is definitely going to hurt. He goes Basil in at leader. I'm going to go ahead and Wolfang Fist, which will put Basil down to 4k, but my leader effect giving it another minus 10 will just kill it. I really feel like that's the only thing I have to worry about this turn. I'm at 4 life, so his leader attack can go through. I don't really mind that. And I don't really think he can kill me without attacking with 20k or higher battle cards, so. Oh, he's going to play his own Kai, and that's where the game just actually kind of ends for me. Yeah, he has a 2 life. I do have the Champa, so I still have a shot. But man, that was a huge swing in tempo. Skipping charge, taking a life with Young Invaders just to get an additional card to hand for combo power. Going leader into leader. He does drop the Robotic Riposte. It hurts. Thinking about playing New Ruler for 3 energy. I think it's my best play at this point. If I had a baby to play the Broly, that would actually be my best bet, but unfortunately I do not have that. Waiting on a response from him. And he's got the extra negate. So, yeah, that's really what sealed the deal there, having the extra negate. I mean, he may have had a Final Flash, but I believe at this point he had used 3. So that's going to force me to end my turn because I can't play any more attackers, and even if I could, I don't have anything to tap. I could tap my 1 energy, but then I wouldn't be able to drop the Champa, and I definitely would not have enough combo power. But I have the Imposing Presence, but it's not really going to matter. I'm only at 2 life, even though he's 10k. Yeah, he's got Champa, and way more cards in hand than I do. So that's gonna wrap up this game. I think the young invader situation made it a lot worse than it may have seemed, but I think this matchup is really tough for King Vegeta. But I'm actually going to be experimenting much more with the Gohanks Unison if this deck proves to be as popular as it is. If Barrier is just popular in the meta, that Unison, that Secret Rare might actually be insane. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time.